9, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on air and streaming on KARE 11 Plus. I'm Jason Hackett alongside Alicia Lewis, and we look at what's going on around the country in terms of weather, and at least we're quiet. We can hang our hats on that.
We'll get a warm up though. John, your 7-day forecast, I'm not even kind of listening to what's happening today because the weekend, it's going to be nice and warm finally.
Great. No, I mean, it's quiet, it's cold. We're in this like nothing pattern. That's good for traveling. We're not getting snow. You can't get snow. It's too cold right now. And that is the story. Yesterday we got to 14. We were like, whoa, we're warming up. And then bam, we got hit with another cold front at 10 p.m. last night. And here we go. We got the winds. I think for sure the story is the wind. This is a very strong wind with the temperature hanging around 0, 36 miles per hour. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm colder this morning than I was yesterday, for sure. Still dressed well, but it's colder because it's just so windy. The face just kind of hurts. So it says minus 19 for the wind chill, but like I said, you're going to notice that wind. It is stronger, so bundle up. Minus 27 in Brainerd, minus 30 in Bemidji. Quiet. Outside of the 8 degrees and the strong wind, it will be sub-zero wind chills all day long today. We'll talk about that weekend here in a bit. Cece, good morning.
Good morning, 6:02. Things have been really quiet all morning long. We can take a look at the traffic flow map here. Not seeing any major crashes out there that would slow anything down, which is great. So today should be another quiet morning. Live look here outside. We can take a look at one of our cameras here to let you know what things look like out there. They should look pretty good here. This is in Plymouth, Highway 55. You shouldn't have to add any extra time to your morning drive.
All right, Cece, thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. This morning, Border Control Commander Greg Bavino is on his way out of Minnesota along with some federal agents. This is new video from overnight as crowds of protesters gathered at the Spring Hill Suites Hotel in Maple Grove where they believe he was staying. They were pushed back by several law enforcement agencies. Now, the shakeup in command comes as the president sends his border czar, Tom Homan, to take over Minnesota's immigration enforcement.
Yeah, we have team coverage this morning on the latest developments in Operation Metro Surge. So let's start things off with Audrey Russo, who is joining us live from Maple Grove. Audrey, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. The demonstration that was out here ended far before we came on air. Things are very quiet at the Spring Hill Suites now. This is where protesters thought Bavino was staying. So now as the border czar, Tom Homan, gets his bearings on the ground here in Minneapolis, we're expecting that Governor Walz will ask Homan to remove 3,000 federal agents from Minnesota. Now this comes after Governor Walz says he and President Trump had a productive phone conversation yesterday, telling our news partners at NPR that the president agreed to do things differently while Homan is in town. President Trump posted on Truth Social saying he seemed to be on the same wavelength with the governor.
Whether it was morality or bad optics in poll numbers, whatever has happened here, there is a definite change of tone. There is definitely a more collaborative tone.
Now, Governor Walz says he also asked President Trump about allowing state investigators to look into the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Some Republicans are calling for something similar. I've got more on that coming up in about 30 minutes, but for now, I'll send things back to you.
All right, Audrey, thank you. And this morning, Congress is pressing for answers on immigration enforcement tactics. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is now set to testify on Capitol Hill in March.
Right now, we're also waiting for a judge's decision on 2 major court hearings regarding ICE in Minnesota. Megan McPherson is in the newsroom now to show us where things stand. Megan.
Judge Kate Menendez held off once again from issuing a temporary restraining order to end Operation Metro Surge. Instead, Menendez is asking for a supplemental briefing from all parties by 6 p.m. tomorrow, which likely means that no decision will be made until after that. In court yesterday, attorneys for Minnesota and the Twin Cities argued that Operation Metro Surge is retaliation designed to pressure the state into complying with federal demands. They point to this letter sent by Attorney General Pam Bondi making 3 demands. 1, sharing SNAP data. 2, repealing sanctuary policies regarding undocumented immigrants. And 3, turning over the state's voter rolls. Bondi writing, quote, "I am confident that these simple steps will help bring back law and order to Minnesota." State attorneys call that a ransom letter.
This is not about fraud, and it's not even about immigration, and it's certainly not about law enforcement. It's about handing over documents of the state of Minnesota, private information, including voting information, to the federal government. That's what this is about.
With the state raising a claim under the 10th Amendment, which addresses state rights, Judge Menendez noted how rare of a decision she's now being asked to make. An attorney for the DOJ pushed back on that, arguing the claims do not violate the 10th Amendment and that federal agents can operate in any state. And coming up in the next half hour, I'll have new details on a separate lawsuit over how evidence is being handled after the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy.
Megan McPherson reporting from the newsroom. Thank you. A decision did come down in a court of appeals allowing federal agents to tear gas or detain peaceful protesters until an ACLU lawsuit is decided. The ACLU argued government officers are violating the constitutional rights of residents. Government attorneys argued officers acted within their legal authority to enforce immigration laws and protect themselves.
Well, this morning, decisions on two dueling resolutions in St. Cloud in response to ICE operations. After 2 hours of debate last night, the City Council passed a resolution 6-1 titled Reaffirming Support for a Just and Welcoming Community. It acknowledges contributions from all residents in the city. Council members, however, voted to delay the vote on a resolution affirming support for law enforcement and the rule of law.
Time now 6:07 as we take a live look from our nation's capital 3 days out from a potential government shutdown. And this morning, Senate Democrats say they're ready to pass multiple funding bills that don't include money for Homeland Security. This all comes after Democrats agreed to not vote for a DHS funding bill in the wake of Alex Preddy's death. Senator Amy Klobuchar says she cannot support the package unless Republicans agree to make changes around immigration enforcement.
We're going to need immigration enforcement in this country. We always have. And we need border control. That's a good thing. But the way they're doing it is completely out of hand. And that's why we should be able to use our vote to push for reforms and a complete overhaul of this agency.
Right now, the bill does not have the 60 votes it needs to pass. Still, Republicans say they're planning to hold a vote before Friday.
Well, polls open in less than an hour, 7 o'clock this morning, for voters in the East Metro to fill 2 seats in the State House. The first is District 47A, which includes parts of Woodbury and Maplewood, after Amanda Hemingson Yeager won election to the state Senate. And then DFLer Shelley Buck is the only candidate on the ballot since no Republicans are running. In St. Paul, voters will choose who will fill the District 64A seat previously held by Kali Herr, who's now the city's mayor. DFL endorsed Meg Lugar Nikolai is up against Republican Dan Walsh. Polls again open 7 o'clock this morning and will be open until 8 p.m. You can find your polling place on the Secretary of State's website.